Hey guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a pretty exciting one, if I do say so myself, because this is the first time ever that I have been sent crafting supplies. So first of all, they sent me this pack and it did arrive very promptly. They do sell on Amazon. So I will have linked down below for you guys the link to their shop on Amazon, and then I have some more information to share throughout this video, but this is the pack that they sent me. It is their permanent adhesive vinyl, and it's a very nice container, I guess. Like, this is something you can keep and reuse. It has a Velcro closure, and it's full of like a lot. It didn't look this jumbled, but obviously I've been crafting with it, so it's not quite as like pristine as it was when I first got it. And then they do have on the back like quite a bit of instructions for where to use this vinyl. So it does say that you can use it on refrigerator and other metal surfaces, plastic surfaces, smooth surfaces, glass surfaces, mirror surfaces, paint surfaces, tile, wood. It says not to use it on dust filling wall. I don't know what that means, but the picture looks like this. So I guess it's like a wall that has texture on it. Not to use it on uneven walls or wetted walls or hollowed out walls. It also gives you advice for which machine you have. So it says Cricut blade standard setting vinyl, silhouette cameo, blade 1, speed 5, force 6, passes 2, material vinyl smooth. I actually didn't really have to mess with the settings on my silhouette cameo. I was able to just click vinyl and it was perfectly fine with what I had it set to. And then it says warm tips. Clean the surface of your project before applying the decal. For large decals, press one section at a time. Best on clean, smooth, and non-porous surfaces. Credit or gift cards can be used in place of the squeegee. This actually came with a squeegee. This actually came inside of this package. This squeegee is kind of hit or miss for me. There were times where it worked extremely, extremely well, and then there were times where I had to pull out my Cricut squeegee because, fun fact, the silhouette squeegee sucks. At least the one I have, it does not work well. So my friend gifted me a Cricut squeegee, and it is the best one I have. So, but if you have a Cricut, you're gonna have the squeegee anyway. And then it talks about performance test cut and text application. Storage instructions: store in a cool, dry area, keep material away from direct sunlight, and avoid heat and humidity. I'll be sharing all of my opinions on this vinyl completely honestly from start to finish for a specific tutorial, which is these little Disney villain inspired poison bottles. And this is a Dollar Tree DIY. I picked up these little poison bottles from Dollar Tree, and I thought that they were absolutely so cute the way they were already, but I really wanted to theme them to Disney. So I did paint them and then used the vinyl that this company sent me in order to make the logos. I also do want to tell you guys, I have a couple more tutorials coming out using this vinyl. So stay tuned, because each time I used it, it was like I learned more, if that makes sense. Like, each time I used it, I kind of learned different things about it. So in a tutorial that I have coming out, I actually use this vinyl as a paint stencil. It did actually work really, really well as a paint stencil. So that's just something to keep in mind. I have a couple more tutorials coming out if you're unsure at any point by the end of this.
So starting off, these are brand new from Dollar Tree this year, and I love them. They're honestly super cool as is. Like, I don't think these need a DIY. It's just I wanted a specific theme for mine, so I will be DIYing mine. And the first step of that was to rip off the jute twine that they have at the top of these. Some of the glue did get left over, but I just used a little chisel tool that came with my silhouette machine, and actually the chisel tool that I got from Dollar Tree to get off any excess glue. And then I'm not going to be using the little tag that came with it or anything, so I just threw that away. So I actually did these two separate ways, and this first way is the way that I suggest you do it, which is just painting the front of the bottle white. If you're using white chalk paint, it will take 2 coats, but it saves you quite a few steps. So this is the first coat totally dry, and now I'm going in with the second coat, and that's honestly all it required. You can still kind of see the imprint of the letters on the label, but once we cover it with vinyl, you're not going to notice it at all. And again, this is just a little bit easier to me and goes a little bit faster. But I am going to show you guys how I made the rest of these bottles, because the other 3 I decided to do a different way, thinking that it was going to look better at the end, but honestly they all look the exact same. So after 2 coats of white chalk paint, then I'm going to go in with this cool toned purple color. It's called Purple Iris, and it's by Apple Barrel acrylic paints. You can get these at Walmart for about 50 cents. I did look at another paint, but I decided to save that one for the Dr. Facilier inspired bottle. So this one's going to be Maleficent themed, and I liked this particular purple for her. Now I was rushing and I got purple on the white label that I wanted to leave white. So make sure you're taking your time. The only thing that I'll say is that when you leave the label on, it is a little bit harder to get your brush strokes all going the same direction, which is something that I prefer. So this also took a couple coats of paint. So 2 coats of the white chalk paint, and then it took me 2 coats of the purple paint as well, just to get it totally opaque. And then again, I had to go in and clean up the label with more white chalk paint because I was rushing. So now I'm going to show you guys how I made the second set, which is I took this little chisel tool that I got from Dollar Tree and used it to get the sticker off of the back of the bottle. I didn't have any issue after I got the sticker totally off. It did take a couple minutes, but once it was off, it was good to go. And then I used that same chisel tool to detach the label on the front so that I could glue it on the back of the bottle. In my head, this made total sense because I was trying to avoid painting on top of a paper material. But looking back, it was unnecessary. So I am using sandpaper to smooth out the label itself so that I can go in with white chalk paint and do 2 layers of white chalk paint on the label itself. The sanding method you could definitely do on the bottle too, but again, just looking at saving yourself some time, I think you can just paint it as is. Then I went in with that same white chalk paint and did a coat of paint on these. I do believe it took 2 coats. No, it only took 1 coat. So when you paint the back of it, it only took 1 coat of the white paint because then you just go in with the really bright color that you're going to use and it does end up covering the entire thing. Don't forget to paint the edges of your bottle as well, no matter what method you decide to do. And I chose this really hot pink color, but this paint was very expired. And honestly, I shouldn't have been using it. You can see little chunks in the paint. That's embarrassing. But I had already started painting it. It was really late at night, so I was like, I just got to push through. So it did take 3 coats of paint, but this one is going to be Yzma inspired, and I wanted it to look like the little potion bottles from the movie. So that's the first coat. For Dr. Facilier, I chose this plum color, and this color did a little bit better. It didn't seem to be quite as old as the pink one. But that did take, I believe, 3 coats to get it really even all the way across the potion bottle. Again, don't forget to paint the sides of your potion bottle. I don't personally worry about the backs because no one's going to see that. And now I'm just going back in for a second coat on the pink bottle as well. Sorry if I'm moving a little bit fast, but I tried to, when I'm just painting a solid coat, I try not to leave too much footage in. But yeah, at this point, I have a purple bottle for Maleficent, a purple bottle for Dr. Facilier, and a pink bottle for Yzma, and I'm making sure to get all of the sides. I did not film myself painting the 4th bottle, which was all red. It actually comes red, but I painted it a brighter red in order to reflect the Queen of Hearts. All of the labels were painted white, and then I did take the time to measure them before designing in Silhouette what I wanted them to say. I don't ever film myself doing it in the Silhouette software because I don't have a way of doing it that is high quality for you guys. My computer that runs my Silhouette is not connected to the internet, so I can't screen record on it. Anyway, so for Yzma's, I decided to cut out Yzma's Potent Extract of Llama. And you guys can see here, I am using the squeegee that they provided and it worked flawlessly. And then I'm just trying to make sure that I've centered the label as best I can using the squeegee they provided. And you guys, look how easily this peeled off. No paint removal, no letters popping up, like it worked like a champ. And then just looking at it on my bottle, I was so happy with it. And because it worked so well, I decided to cut out this teeny tiny little llama and add that to the design as well. So I'm just attaching that to the top of the little label. And again, using the squeegee they provided, it worked fantastic. So this was the very first one that I finished and I was really happy with it. So next I went to Dr. Facilier, and for his label, I used the bright neon green vinyl that they provided. And this one took a little bit longer to weed just because the sentence was so much longer. But again, easy. I didn't lose any letters and honestly had no real issues. The transfer tape that I have is just my own transfer tape. They didn't provide me with any, but it worked great. I had no issues picking up these letters and putting them onto the label. The little label plaques I did switch around, so I took the one from this bottle and I used it on the Queen of Hearts bottle, and then this is the one from the Queen of Hearts bottle. I just liked how it looked on this bottle more. So that's kind of the nice thing on if you pop them off, you can kind of swap them around. But just using that little squeegee they provided, they stuck on great. I did have to adjust one just a teeny tiny bit, but look at that. Looks fantastic. And then to attach them, I am just going to hot glue them. This one, I did it on the table and I got it off center. You can literally see it right there. It's a little bit crooked. So I do end up popping it off using that little chisel tool from Dollar Tree that I showed you guys earlier and re-gluing it back on. Once I had the label totally glued on, then I'm going to go in and paint the cork. This is a caramel color that I get from Walmart. Again, 58 cents for an apple barrel acrylic paint. And this is how we're going to base coat the cork of the bottle. I'm just going in with a kind of like a thin flat brush, just to make sure I get a really nice line. And then I am going to be using a stippling brush, which is kind of like a sparse scratchy brush with this light mocha color, as well as a chocolate brown color that's really, really dark. And I'm just going to be tapping that down onto the cork. It just gives the cork a little bit of detail and dimension and makes it look a little bit more realistic. Make sure to paint the sides of your cork as well as the actual front part that's facing you, because you painted the sides of the bottle as well. I hope the order of this is okay, guys, but now I'm kind of moving back over to the Queen of Hearts bottle. I know I didn't show myself painting it red, but it is painting it red. But for her potion label, I decided to make it say the Queen of Hearts Rose Red Tonic. I honestly wish that I had put Red Rose Tonic, but it was too late. I'd already made it when I thought about it more. This label I did end up cutting twice because the very first time I cut it, it was too small. You can see it to the left of my hand there. And then I was like mid transfer taping it up and realized and just like ripped it up really fast. So the yellow was definitely the trickiest of the colors that I worked with on this day. It came up a little bit easier than the other colors, but I was able to make it work with minimal effort on my part, I would say. I did use the squeegee provided from them again, and it did come up, so that little squeegee was like the little engine that could. And then I am going to apply it to the new label for this bottle and just using their squeegee to lay it down. But then the squeegee became the little squeegee that can't, and I had to switch over to my Cricut squeegee. So I don't know why, but the yellow was the only one that was a little bit tricky on this day. So I did use the Cricut squeegee, and then I had no problems at all. I was able to pull up the transfer tape, and it wasn't a big deal. But yeah. That's what I get for bragging on their free squeegee. And then after gluing it onto the bottle, I decided to cut out a little rose at the top because I did decide to add a little kind of like shape or something at the top of each of them. So for Dr. Facilier, I went back and I cut out these teeny tiny little cards. These were so small. And I did leave a little ace A on the top and the bottom. And the fact that I was able to weed this without losing those was kind of crazy to me. So this is the moment where I actually felt kind of impressed as far as the weeding went. But yeah, I was able to weed that out and then using transfer tape, just pick it up and put it down on my label. And I did want to show you guys this because I went back in with that free squeegee and it worked totally fine. So I don't know what it is about the yellow not liking that squeegee, but it was an odd phenomenon. For Maleficent's bottle, I then went in and cut out her label, which was Maleficent's Eternal Slumber Elixir. Sorry, it's kind of a mouthful. And I cut hers out of black matte vinyl. I didn't have any issues with this one. It was really easy to weed and get out. I did end up cutting this one a second time. I just didn't film it the second time because I wanted it to be a little bit of a larger font. But again, no issues with the transfer tape or getting it onto the label itself. I also went back and added a little dragon for her symbol on her bottle. If you guys were wondering how I decided which villains I wanted to base the potion bottles off of, it's because I have their Funko Pops and I wanted to include them in my Halloween display as I do every year, but they always just kind of look random. So I thought by giving them each their own potion bottle, it would be a completed decor shelf. And I really am happy with how these turned out.
Okay, so now that we are through all of the tutorial, I want to tell you guys what I consider the biggest pros and cons of this vinyl. So I'm going to start with the cons, which the cons I'm about to tell you were only with specific sheets of vinyl in the pack. And I know that sounds odd, but what I realized was that the couple of times that I had a little bit of difficulty, it was a lighter color of vinyl. And I have no idea how that could be true, but one of the times I used the neon orange sheet and I realized that it was see-through. I will insert a clip. This is for a future video, but I still want to show it to you guys because I'm reviewing the vinyl. The vinyl was see-through when put onto a black painted surface. So it was not the case with all of the colors, but this particular color, that was the case. And then something else that I noticed is that the yellow vinyl, for some reason, was having trouble adhering. And I actually tried to use this vinyl when I made a pair of Air Herc shoes. I will also insert a clip of that. I had a lot of trouble getting the yellow vinyl to stick to the shoe. I did message the company about this because I also was attempting to add it onto craft foam. Now, I've never added vinyl onto craft foam. That's not something I've attempted before, so I don't know if maybe vinyls just don't really do that, but I feel like I've seen people do it. So this particular vinyl, they did say, is best for smooth, hard surfaces. That is how the company let me know, because I said, is there anything I should know about this vinyl because I'm having a little bit of trouble getting it to stick to craft foam? And they said smooth, hard surfaces is what you're gonna wanna do. So if you're specifically wanting this vinyl for craft foam purposes, this is probably not the vinyl you're gonna wanna use. However, when I used it to make my Herculade cup that I had in a couple TikToks and stuff, it stuck extremely well to that. But it is a little bit of a sheer vinyl. So again, the few cons that I would say is that you have to work on a smooth, hard surface. So if you're wanting to work on a more porous material, this is probably not going to adhere the way that you want it to. And then some of their lighter color vinyls are a little bit see-through. So just something to keep in mind. Now, however, the benefits of this vinyl, there were quite a few. So, and to me, they're the things that you are going to get the most mad about when you're working with vinyl. So one of them is cleaning off your cutting mat. So the backing on this vinyl is a plastic material. And so when you go to peel it off of your cutting mat, it just comes off in one fell swoop. It does not leave behind residue. I actually am gonna show you guys. So this is that neon vinyl that I was talking about. And as you can see it here, you can see the lines on my cutting mat through it. So that's what I meant by the sheerness of it. Now going to like the positives, if you can see here, it is a plastic backing on it. So like, I'm done. And as you can see, this has been a struggle for me because I've like, look at all that paper stuck on my cutting mat. And yes, I should clean it off, obviously, but I haven't. So to me, that is a huge benefit because being able to just peel it off and continue working is a big thing for me, because when I'm filming or making projects, I have to be able to crank stuff out. And if you guys are working like a small shop or something, you don't have time to sit there and clean off your cutting mat between every color that you're using. So to me, that is like a huge, huge, huge bonus. Another thing about this vinyl that is probably the number one thing you're looking for is easy to weed. And that is this vinyl. Like I had the only time where I was like slightly struggling is when I was cutting out the little card decal for Dr. Facilier, because it's so tiny. And I was like, okay, there's not a vinyl in this world that is not going to give you that kind of like challenge, I guess, when you're working with something that is like a millimeter big cut out. And even then I was still able to get the A out and keep it stuck to the transfer tape. So as much as like I had to sit there and focus to do it, it still worked. And there are all the other vinyls in my craft drawer, I can't cut anything that small. I cannot cut anything that small without knowing it's going to be an absolute headache, and I'm probably gonna have to cut it more than once. So weeding, 10 out of 10. Cutting on my machine, 10 out of 10, because a lot of vinyls, I have to like up my blade setting to actually get through it. And This vinyl is not that way. It's not wearing down my blade. It worked so well on the machine. And then actually, so that's my second like, amazing. And then my third amazing is that plastic backing, because the fact that I don't have to clean off my mat is a really big pro for me. Oh, and then as far as like adhering it, 10 out of 10. The amount of times that I have worked on a project and I'm sitting there with my transfer tape, peeling my transfer tape off, and I'm trying to gently do it and it just keeps ripping the letter off my project or ripping the paint off my project. I did not use Mod Podge on any of these projects, on any of the potion bottles today. And I was a little nervous that I was gonna peel off the paint with the transfer tape or the letter was gonna rip it off, and that did not happen a single time. So as far as like cutting, weeding, application, all of those were extremely, extremely user-friendly. And to me, that is a huge like plus. Like I would buy this vinyl again because I know how well it works. The one thing that would make me a little nervous to get it again is just the fact that the lighter colors seem to be see-through. So maybe if I know I'm doing a lighter color and it's got to go on like a black background, that is like the one thing that would make me like, this might not be the best vinyl for that particular project. If you guys have questions about the vinyl, or if you have like a really specific project you're thinking of and you just want to know if I think this vinyl would work for that, I am more than happy to answer questions down below. But overall, I would say that this is a very, very nice vinyl to work with. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And also I want to say thank you again to this company for sending me this vinyl. Obviously that like I'm not a humongous channel, but I am an honest reviewer, and I really appreciate them reaching out to me and being comfortable with me being 100% honest in my review. And surprise, if you made it to the end of this video, I actually am offering 10 coupon codes for the first 10 people to comment on this video and DM me on Instagram. So the very first people to watch this video all the way through, comment on the bottom, and then DM me over on Instagram will receive a discount code for the vinyl. Now, I'm not making any commission off of this vinyl. I'm not. The only benefit I got is that the vinyl was free for me. So if you guys are interested in receiving one of those coupon codes, then please leave me the little poison emoji, because this is gonna help me know that you made it all the way through to the end of this video. And then after doing that, be sure to head over to Instagram and send me a DM just saying, loved the video, I would love to receive one of the coupon codes. I do only have 10 of them, so once all 10 are gone, I won't be able to offer out any more at this time. Again, thank you so much to HTVRONT, because I've been sent a couple, first of all, I've been sent a couple things recently, but I've never been sent craft supplies. So this was definitely a different experience for me. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to create some crafts like for you guys and a new tutorial and do something super fun. So I'm just really grateful, and I wanted to say thank you again. Thank you guys so much for watching this video all the way through, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.